Thanks for joining us. This is Notepad. My name is Ibrahim Sani. We're looking at the Pantau Kerajaan Baru mini segment within my show. Here trying to observe some of the developments that is currently happening, not just within the administration of the country, but the policies that is going to be shaped in terms of how the country is going to be run moving forward. Because of this, a few days ago, I spoke with the MD or the Managing Director of Icon Offshore, looking at not just the business of Icon Offshore, but generally speaking, the industry itself, looking at how the offshore business is going to grow under this new government. We're looking at the oil and gas sector. We're also looking at ESG, some of the developments that is currently going to be faced by a lot of companies in the supply chain of the oil and gas sector. So because of this, we're going to continue on this conversation for tonight. Joining me is a very important company, Captain Cheah Sin Bi, the CEO of Orkim Sin Bi. Orkim, of course, has been founded a few years ago, close to 2 decades ago, near 2004, with the principal business being shipbroking. So here, trying to unearth some of the gems that is still within this sector is Captain Cheah. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the developments that is currently happening within the industry. But before that, let's learn a little bit more about Orkim Sin Bi.
All right, thank you, Ibrahim. Orkim Sin Bi is the leading CPP tanker company in Malaysia. We own 18 ships and 16 oil tankers and also 2 LPG tankers. And we have domestically we have about 40% market share. And we own the only Malaysian registered LPG tankers in Malaysia. And we also have the only MR tanker, MR size medium range tanker, which is close to 48,000 deadweight ton. The only one serving Petronas till date. And we are the only one serving the top 4 oil majors in Malaysia, namely our national oil company Petronas, Shell, BHP Petrol and Petron. And regionally, we also serve PTT, Pertamina, Exxon, and also various other charterers like Vitol. And founded in 2004, we grow to one of the largest in Malaysia.
Let's talk about some of the developments that have been happening in your industry for the past, I guess, 2 years or 3 years because of the pandemic. A lot of your clients are downsizing. They have gone through cost rationalization, MSS, VSS, not hiring. The age within these organizations in terms of HR has grown from late 30s to early 40s. In fact, some companies have even older average workers in terms of their work strength. This very much looks like a sunset industry. Strangely enough, we use petrol every day. How do you marry the whole idea of this being a sunset industry, but us relying on petrol even more? In fact, 20% of our GDP is based on petrol.
Okay, if you look at the contribution of Malaysian maritime industry to our GDP, it's about 40%. And I think 90% of our trade, of our goods is actually transported by sea. And I think Malaysian maritime industry is very important to our economy. And obviously, pandemic have posed a big challenge to us, but we have a different set of contracts that we have contracted with the charterers. We have our long term, we have our short term, and our COA, different structure for contract. And talking about the human resources during the pandemic and post pandemic, I would zoom into our seafarers, for example. I think we are very proud of how they are coping on board, despite all the challenges, closure of borders, restriction of travel, but they still put their full effort to have us to on our lights, to have our lights on, and a mixture of younger generation and older generation is good for our company. And I think now our company we have an average about less than 50 years old. Full of ideas, full of energy to move to bring the company forward. And I've been with this company for more than 10 years, and we understand the whole business, and most of the workforce here is equally energetic and also want to see the company move forward.
Okay, let's talk about your own career, right? Yeah. Because you started off as a cadet at a very young age. You grew to being the CEO of Malaysia's largest, or one of Malaysia's largest maritime company. And this seems to be a career path that is not going to be standard for young Malaysians. Do you feel that the projection and the trajectory of this trying to attract new talents into companies like yours is going to be a bit tougher moving ahead? Not many young Malaysians want to be, sea cadets moving forward.
I think the shortages of seafarers in Malaysia have been there for many years. And what we are trying to do as Orkim as a company and also wider industry level, we actually collaborate very closely with TVET and also the HRD Corporation. We are one of the steering committee to look into the career path of seafarers post the sailing careers, for example. And I believe that the opportunity is wide out there, and it's not only restricted or limited to shipping and ports, but actually into other range of businesses as well.
You know, the combination of the Energy and Natural Resources Ministries with Environment and Water Ministries into one called the Energy Resource, Environment and Climate Change is going to be a very critical factor in terms of trying to regulate this particular sector of yours. We're also looking at the Human Resources Ministry going through some developments as well. We don't know what the developments are. The ministry has yet to give some sort of an early salvo in terms of where he's going to take the direction into. Do you feel that this new government has a lot at stake when it comes to trying to see how they can better improve the kind of businesses that you guys are in, and of course trying to see where the next stage is? Is it better ESG practices? Is it trying to reduce costs even further? Is it more government money pumped into this sector? What are the, I guess, expectations that you have as a CEO of a company in trying to manage expectations from this new government?
I believe they have the resources and also their commitment actually to go for net zero, for example. I think not only the government, I think Petronas as the national oil company, even in Shell, everyone is committed to net zero in 2050.
Yeah.
And on our side, ESG have become our core part of our business. And with collaboration with MPRC, the Malaysian Petroleum Resources Corporation, actually we have launched the National OGSE Sustainability Plan recently, I think last month, and also we'll be coming out with the roadmap next year and also the framework in 2024. And Orkim itself, we have worked very closely with engine makers and shipyard, reputable shipyard. We are looking into new generation of vessels, methanol dual fuel. We understand that the challenge to reduce carbon emission is not only about the company or government, but we have to have a concerted effort. And technology, ETS technology, for example, energy-saving technologies is available, but it's over the horizon. It's not available at large. And transfer of technology and knowledge should be there.
I think because of this, it's also important for us to talk about the company structure in terms of finances. Do you feel that the time is right for you to raise more funds for 2023, considering that it's going to be a very tough year, not just for your industry, but just generally global recession is looming on us. Your clients are going to be facing a lot of issues for their own customers. You have your own set of issues. Because of this, do you think that more investments is needed in terms of the industry and as well, more importantly, your company as well?
Yeah, exactly. And with Orkim is also a member of MASA, and also we are the EXCO members of MASA. We head the tanker committee, chair the tanker committee, and one of the this Malaysian shipping master plan actually was launched in 2021 to 2025. That was 5 years ago, but there is a lot of shortfalls in this. It needs further review, and I understand that the Ministry of Transport is actually reactivate this National Shipping and Port Council, and one of the aspect or tasks that MASA has been tasked is actually on the ship financing, and we are looking working very closely with the bankers, financial institution on green financing, for example, and also obviously that if we want to be competitive, we need to upgrade our asset, and we consider this as a transition period from our existing asset to an environmental friendly asset.
What do you mean by environmental friendly asset?
With lesser carbon emission, we have last year we've actually delivered a fleet of a new vessel, 5 of them, eco ships, lesser carbon emission, and towards our. Do
they cost more than, I don't know, the normal ships?
It is cost slightly more, but the thing is the emission is actually 30% lower than the existing fleet.
Why would you do that considering it costs more?
Sorry.
Why would you buy eco-friendly ships considering that it costs 30% more than non-eco ships?
This is in line with our client the
requirements,
value and the requirements and the business that our long-term commitment to meet the 2030 to reduce half our emission and also net zero by 2050.
So companies do take extra steps in terms of achieving these goals despite, hitting the bottom line.
Of course. And
you're the first.
Yeah.
I've been doing this every day for the past like 7 years. I think these kind of type of activities, it helps if it doesn't disturb the bottom line.
Yes, we have to up our game to be competitive.
Really?
Yes.
And was this approved by the board or?
Yes, it's approved by the board. It's also Equinas as our main shareholder is very committed in ESG and also to accelerate ESG agendas.
So you have, so the moment your clients are demanding it, the moment your investors are demanding it, then you as a company would act on it despite costing more.
Sure. And in fact,
I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong. I mean, like, good. Yes, exactly. I want net zero to be halved by, in 7 years now, not just 8 years, but 7 years.
Yes.
And I want everything to be done by 2022, by 22 years.
Yes.
But you need a lot of stakeholders to actually, I don't know, influence you, put pressure on you, something like that.
In fact, like ESC Technologies, we started our retrofitting our energy-saving devices since back in 2015, and it saved up to 10 million a year for the charterers.
And there was no so this type of behavior in your company would continue on even further. You would still opt for environmentally viable solutions despite hitting bottom line because of your values that you want to pursue.
Exactly.
Okay. ESG is not just about the cost, it's not just about the environment, it's not just about the governance. One thing that we need to talk about is the social aspect. Seafarers, as you rightfully noted just now, was already on the decline. In fact, this has been going on for quite some time. I would presume that young Malaysians or young seafarers, generally speaking, might not necessarily want to enter this space moving forward. They want to go into digital space and all the other stuff onshore, basically. And of course, those that are already in the system, they face tremendous pressure during the pandemic, loneliness, perhaps, the inability for them to communicate with their families. Pandemic was hitting hard. How was the social element managed in terms of the seafaring community and within the folks inside your company?
Actually, for the seafarers, I think by nature they are resilient. Away from home and.
My only contact with seafarers is through movies. Okay, so I have no idea what you're talking about. So, yeah. So when you say that they're resilient, okay, the way I see it in movies, yeah, they're resilient. That's about it.
No, we are out at sea almost about 6 months normally. Okay, 6 months, and we came back ashore for 2 months. And 6 months prolonged isolation. We have a team on board as our family, and that is where well before the pandemic, I think 2 years before the pandemic, we started the program on mental well-being, mental health, to prepare them to enhance their ability to bounce back from difficulties or encountering this kind of experience. We have a resilience program, and I think that helps. And during that 2 years, we have issues with to sign them off, for example, to disembark, for them to disembark from the ships after 6 months. So they have to continue up
because of the quarantine.
Because of the quarantine, because of the closure of borders and also restriction in travel. But they understand the whole situation. They are resilient. They are prepared for this kind of situation, and we are proud of how they are coping on board, and despite all the challenges. And now, after the post-pandemic, we continue our program, our mental well-being and welfare. In fact, we partner with one of the National Union of Seafarers, which is affiliated with the International Transport Federation, ITF, and to protect their rights and also to ensure that their well-being is taken care of. And this year we are awarded with by this Ministry of Transport during the Day of Seafarers as the Majikan Prihatin, as our effort to taking care of their
caring employer.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go for one short break. When we come back, we'll discuss a little bit more with Orkim Sendirian Berhad. Thanks for staying on with us. I have with me Captain Cheah Sin Bi, the CEO of Orkim, one of the larger maritime companies in the country, as well as in the region actually. Let's talk about the future of this industry. The LNG business brings a lot of promise, but at the same time, there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of how the government is going to reintegrate this particular industry. Petroleum is very important. We know that. It's bottom line. Petronas just gave 50 billion ringgit in terms of dividend. How would they see themselves in terms of growing their business, and how do you play a part in that? And generally speaking, 2023 is going to be a global recession. What is in store for this industry, Captain?
The outlook, the tanker market outlook is good, it's firm, and
what do you mean by that? Like order book is in store, assets is in store.
The demand is continuously to rise. I think about 4 to 5% every year.
Okay.
But the order book is actually on the declining. It's say about 4%. I think that was record low since 2018. And
I'm sure that worries you.
No, that is order book on the ships that are going to build.
Oh, I see.
The demand is higher than the ship that's available now.
Oh, okay.
And then the average tanker earning now is actually one of the highest for the past 20 years to 2 decades. I think the top 5%. And we anticipate that the tanker segment will be firm across 2023, 2024. And also the demand of petroleum will be going to steady or increase until 2030 or 2035 in this region.
Okay, so you're very optimistic about the sector.
Yes.
What would be some of the challenges or the headwinds, pun intended, in terms of what is going to be facing your industry?
Okay, on our side is actually we are ready to go for more flexible shapes like chemical tankers that you can carry various type of grades. And with dual fuel engine, of course, environmental friendly and lesser carbon emission. And what actually our main obstacle or
challenge
that we need to overcome is actually the ship financing. Because we believe that we think that the financier in Malaysia, they don't understand the practicality of the project in Malaysia. So the first question that they will ask is, do you have any contract with you before I provide the financing? You know, so
it's a chicken and egg argument. How can you have contract when you don't have ships?
Correct, exactly. So together with MASA and with TAS, with the NSPC, the National Port and Shipping Council, so we are looking very heavily into this.
Sorry, I want to hold on to you on that one. So ship financing is a problem?
It's not a problem, but it's not.
Bankers don't understand your business, lah.
They don't. There's a lot of clauses. It's very rigid.
Okay. Yeah. So has that always been a problem, or it's been increasing recently?
Lately, and I think the risk appetite for the bankers is not that
aggressive.
Aggressive, yeah.
What is the option for not using local bankers? Can you go to international banks? I don't know, VCs. I don't know. What would be other sources of
financing? There are options. International banks from other countries. But we also restricted to you won't be able to register the ship in Malaysia, for example. They have to register in the other flag. But for us, we also very fortunate that we have our Equinas as a shareholder, that they provide us a fund on working capital and also the startup cost, for example.
Yeah, but you need the financing for the boats themselves, right?
Yeah.
It's not I mean, working capital is
important. But that is something that we have to work together as an industry and to have a more engagement with the bankers in Malaysia.
Okay. Final question. Do you feel that 2023 is going to be a better year despite all these global headwinds in terms of what you're going to be facing?
I think 2023 will be a better year. I think this year we are doing fairly well. I think next year we are committed to continuing our momentum. I think there's a lot of growth opportunity that we anticipated. And on top of the business aspect, we also good safety is a good business for us. We want to continue our safety program and to make sure that no one work for us getting harmed on board, and at the same time well-being and the mental health of seafarers on board. We need to have a better program and to enhance to revisit our program and to re-energize back our program, because it's very important to sustain our business here in Malaysia.
Being somebody in the supply chain of the energy business, also being a seafarer, a seasoned seafarer, also being part of the shipbroking and chartering industry, what will be some of the wish lists that you want from this new government right now that is put in place?
Okay,
I know what you want from the bankers, for them to give you more loans. Yeah, we got that. But government policy.
As I mentioned earlier in my conversation, I think the maritime industry contributed 40% of our GDP. It is very important, and we, based on our surrounded by the seas, our coastline, we are one of the maritime nation. I think the aspiration to be the maritime.
And we
nation.
have been so for, I don't know, 1 millennia. Yeah.
And I think Equinas on board with us is also to develop the shipping industry in Malaysia. So I think a lot of focus and more opportunity to be given to the local operators, for example. And cabotage rule, for example, to be tightened up. And if you look at the DSL exemption, the domestic shipping license exemption this year itself for product tankers, that those that we are having, is close to 600 applications a year. And based on this, you can see that there's an acute shortage of product tankers in Malaysia. So I think Malaysian operators should be given opportunity to grab all these chances, and we can do it, and especially also to develop our local seafarers. Without having
talent,
yeah, without having a pool of local seafarers, we cannot grow. Okay. So I think that is our wish list.
Fantastic. Those are fantastic wish lists. In fact, I'm going to cut it up and put it on our news.
Thank you.
Very good. Capital issue has always been the problem. In fact, the previous Transport Minister did not do much in terms of improving the situation. I hope Anthony Loke, the new Transport Minister, is going to look into this after his train ride, I'm sure. So we're going to be looking at much of these items moving forward. If you want to learn more about some of the coverages that we've been bringing to you in terms of the monitoring the new government or Pantau Kerajaan Baru, just head on to astroawani.com, look for Pantau Kerajaan Baru or Notepad. There are plenty of interviews like this and resources that can help you understand a little bit better about the new government's administration and getting them doing their work for us. But for now, that was our conversation with Captain Cheah Sin Bi, the CEO of Orkim Sdn Bhd. If you want to learn more about Orkim and the seafaring industry, is there like a resource? There might be a sailor out there waiting to join the seafaring community. If they want to learn more, what do they do?
TVET school? TVET, and also there is a platform we call there's a Seafarer Management Center. It's managed by it's actually jointly managed by the Marine Department of Malaysia, and you can always apply through that.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, my name is Ibrahim Sani. Continue to stay with us on Astro AWANI.